Hello. Good morning to each and one, to everyone present here. At the very onset, I offer my humble pranam at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Deva, Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda. With this, we begin our second day of our 2-day national seminar on 25th year of service of Ramakrishna Mission, sponsored by Indian Council of Social Science Research, ICSSR, New Delhi. On behalf of all the students of our college, I offer my pranam to our revered Principal Maharaj and all the respected monks and dignitaries present in this august assembly. For our first technical session, I would like to invite revered Swami Japasiddhanandaji Maharaj, Department of Sanskrit and Philosophy, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, and revered Ekachittanandaji Maharaj, Principal, Ramakrishna Mission Residential College, Narendrapur, to kindly come over the dais and take their seats. Ekachattanandaji Maharaj is on the way and he will be reading and he will be reaching so shortly. Now I would request our revered Principal Maharaj Swami Kamalastanandaji Maharaj to kindly felicitate the dignitaries. First of all, I would like to invite revered Swami Japasiddhanandaji Maharaj, Department of Sanskrit and Philosophy, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, to deliver his speech on the topic Role of Ramakrishna Mission in the Field of Higher Education.
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपान्तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम् ॐ नमो भगवते रामकृष्णाय. Good morning all. My respectful pranams to revered Swami Kamalasthanandaji Maharaj, Principal, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahara. My respectful pranams to Swami Krishnamritanandaji Maharaj, and love and namaskars to the other monks present here. My good wishes to all the students of this prestigious students, and my regards also to the respectable faculty members of this prestigious college. This is a national seminar on the topic 125 years of service of Ramakrishna Mission on the occasion of the anniversary of the foundation day of Ramakrishna Mission. This is the 125th anniversary. The topic of the discourse in this technical session is role of Ramakrishna Mission in the field of higher education. We can discuss this topic under three heads. First, let us try to know what is Ramakrishna Mission, what is its ideal, what's higher education, and what are the challenges. Third, role of Ramakrishna Mission in higher education under two heads: higher education institutions in Ramakrishna Mission and the unique contribution in this field by the Ramakrishna Mission institutions. What is Ramakrishna Mission? As you all know, it is an institution, organization founded by Swami Vivekananda on 1st May 1897 to serve the society. It was later registered as a society on 4th May 1909. Ramakrishna Mission is a unique organization where all renouncing monks and lay disciples and devotees come together to serve the society in different fields with an emphasis on the poor section of the society who are deprived. Swami Vivekananda presented before the monks the twin ideal of one's own upliftment as well as the service to the society. He gave it in a pithy statement as a mantra: Atmano mokshartham jagadhitaya cha. Atmanaha mokshartham, for the liberation of one's own self, jagadhitaya cha, for the good of the world. This ideal forms the basis of all activities of Ramakrishna Mission. All the institutions run by the Ramakrishna Mission derive inspiration and guidance from this ideal. Whatever the activities, they are all centered around these ideas for the liberation of one's own self as well as the good of the world. Next, what is higher education in India? In different nations, the connotation differs. In US, it has a little variant definition. In UK, a different meaning to that. In India, what does higher education mean? It means the tertiary level. Tertiary, the fourth level. It comes at the fourth level. After completing 12 years of schooling, that is higher education. Starting from graduation up to the postdoctoral research. We get the data from the Government of India site that presently we have over 1,000 universities and more than 42,000 colleges all over India. And they all fall under the gamut, the ambit of the Ministry of Education. What are the challenges in this area? In higher education, what are the challenges our nation faces now? Commonly perceived challenges are these: in enrollment, equity, quality, infrastructure, political impedance, faculty, accreditation, research and innovation, structure of higher education. One more, the infrastructure has come already there. Enrollment, the gross enrollment ratio or the gross enrollment index is very poor. What does it mean? In some place which is taken into discussion, the total number of young children, boys and girls, to the number who get enrolled into education. This is the ratio that determines the GER, gross enrollment ratio. It is very low in India. We still have to go a long way before considerable number comes into higher education. Next is the problem of equity, the gender equity. We will not go into the details here because it is dealt with in every institution. We will concentrate and devote more time on what are the unique areas, the gap areas where Ramakrishna mission has something to contribute. We will just quickly go through these points. Equity means the gender ratio. Swami Vivekananda wanted that women should be given education and left free. The men should not meddle in their affairs. Give education and allow them to shape their own life. So this equity has a very important role. Now it is very less. The percentage of women coming into higher education is less. Quality. What do we mean by quality? We have to understand excellence achieved by both teachers and students, not students alone. Many times we see students may not be devoted to studies, or students are very much interested, but teachers are not dedicated. Both ways it is seen in the society, in the educational ecosystem. These are the flaws which we notice. We have to cross over these imperfections. In the case of a teacher, lack of excellence means what? Instead of devoting his time in teaching, he is engrossed in other activities. Many a times it happens thus. The faculty member is interested in going to seminars, workshops, conducting so many other things, and has neglected the teaching which is incumbent upon him as a duty. Students also, they also should devote their entire mind to the studies and achieve excellence in their field first before going on to interdisciplinary endeavors. Infrastructure. Here when we see this wonderful hall, seminar hall, conference hall, we can definitely say that India is taking solid steps, concrete steps towards infrastructural improvement. In very few institutions you will find this type of a infrastructure. The students here are truly blessed. We know in villages infrastructure is very poor. Probably we see when we see the reports of the different institutions, it is a small business center. Maybe a photocopier is there. He is conducting some business, and in the corner of the room a school is run. What excellence can you expect in such an ambience? It is not possible. So infrastructure is very much essential. Political impedance. Interference of politics in educational institutions takes away the energy and attention of the students. They are not free to concentrate on studies. We have excellent potential in our boys and girls. They are highly talented, but the talent is still potential. It has to unfold itself. Now, if there is political interference, obviously the student is drawn towards activities which are more or less detrimental to his own well being. As much as we can segregate these two, our education system will come back to its glory as when it was during the Upanishadic times. Swamiji wanted this. The Vedic system of education, or better said, the Upanishadic system of education should be brought back. That is why you all know, the blessed students here, you all know, in Ramakrishna Mission institutions, when you come and join, a small vow is taken. You are taught a vrata. Huh? You are made to take up some vows that we call it as the Vidyarthi Vrata. The students, when they pass out, when they have completed their programs here and they are going out, on the eve of leaving, there will be one more occasion where the authorities, in this case it is the revered monks of the institution, conduct a small function, Samavartana. Samavartana means it is an occasion where they see you off and bid you farewell. This is exactly a replica of the Upanishadic system of education. Next, faculty. I told faculty, we know there is an irony, a sarcastic situation has come up these days. During recruitment, great demands are put upon the candidate. We want all excellence in the teacher. He should have all talents. He should know everything. And only such, or who is closer to this ideal is chosen among the applicants. But after recruitment, what is he doing? More or less, he is doing a clerical job, filling up the ratio of so many general, so many SC, so many ST, so many OBC. Do you want a highly qualified personnel for this? This is one of the drawbacks that we find in the present system. We have to free the faculty member to devote his time to achieve greater excellence in his studies. It is said, during learning, when one is a student, whatever he achieves is only a quarter of what he could. Padam. And quarter of excellence comes when he teaches. And the other quarter is achieved if we make 4 quarters of the whole educational scheme. 1/4 of it he learns during his student life, and the other 1/4 comes when he teaches. It is experienced by everyone. When a faculty discusses the topic, new things come up in his mind on the spot. That should happen in him every day. Only then he will evolve, and his lectures will be very impressive for the students. Students are the people who will judge the teacher. Students know very well, oh, today the teacher has not prepared, so he is somehow whiling the time away. So the faculty should not be in such a disgraceful situation. He should come well prepared and should be devoted to studies. The third part comes by experience, by time. In Sanskrit it is said, Padang kalena vindati, Padang kala kramena cha. But there is one more quarter left, which comes by moving with the peers, by moving with the scholars, both peers and the seniors, by moving amongst those who are learned experts, he learns more. Faculty. Next, accreditation. Accreditation nowadays, the NAC is there. UGC has come up with this one system of accreditation and assessment of educational institutions. That also needs to be taken care of. What is the challenge there? The challenge is this: there cannot be one common criteria for assessing the excellence of an institution. Our authorities in NAC are also coming up with innovations every now and then. They themselves are not clear how to make the assessment and accreditation. They are trying very much. That is one of the challenges. Next, research and innovation. Research and innovation can happen when the the teacher and the scholar who is working is totally into the subject. That means heart and soul he should be immersed in the thought, and then only new flash can come in him and make an original contribution to the existing lore of knowledge, or else it will just be a hodgepodge type of a thing, and somehow he is awarded a PhD and he gets a job. Structure of higher education. Structure of higher education, what do we mean by this? The structure of higher education means the system in which the higher education is transmitted to the recipients. Swamiji said, if I am given a chance, we will see the quote later, I would first perfect the instrument, the mind, the intellect, and I would not read books. After perfecting this instrument, wherever you focus this mind, it will collect the facts by its own will, and that is the first-rate learning. In our Vedic age also, all these issues of pedagogy was discussed thoroughly. For example, there is a scripture known as Nirukta. Nirukta is one of the auxiliaries to Vedic studies. Auxiliaries means Vedanga. What is Nirukta? It discusses about the meanings of words in Vedas. There in the beginning, Yaska Maharshi, he says, earlier there were people who were Maharshis, Brahmarshis. Brahma here the meaning is Veda, Brahmarshis. What does it mean? They realized the system. For example, the science students, the mathematics students know Ramanujam was there, mathematician. He would say, he got the sutras by the grace of God in dream. That means his soul could interact with the science that is present in the universe. That is the first rate of learning. They in our culture, in the Vedic system, is called as Brahmarshis. Then came Shrutarshis. Shrutarshi means those who listen, Shruta, Shravana. They heard from their guru and they got the entire knowledge. Heard the guru means not the way in which we learn. Because our teachers, our dedicated faculty members, they tell many times, they repeat several times, they adopt several methodologies to convey to the student. Shrutarshis are not there. Shrutarshi means the teacher will tell once and it is already downloaded into his brain. That is an exceptional student, and that the Vedic rishis call as a second-rate man, which we cannot even attempt to achieve. We can. It's a different thing. But then came another, the third level of students in the Vedic age. They needed some more explanation. But today, with explanation also we are unable to understand. We need one more step coming down. The teacher comes down and explains us. This is what we see. Where is excellence then? That means the structure of educational methodology, the structure, it needs updation. For that to get updated, the student should become updated. These things we can learn later Now we'll go to higher education institutions in Ramakrishna Mission. We have 14 higher education institutions as yet, and they fall into three categories as shown below. You can see in the slide. Deemed university, medical science institutes and research centers. We have two of them. We have one deemed university in Ramakrishna Mission, and we have 11 colleges where higher education is imparted. Deemed university, which is the one we have? It is Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute. It is a deemed university as declared by the Government of India under Section 3 of the UGC Act 1956. This university, established under the hallowed name of Swamiji, it came into being in 2005. Where is it located? The main campus, the headquarters of the university is located in Belur, in the sacred precincts of the holy Belur Mutt. And accreditation in 2019, NAC accreditation took place, and the university scored A++ with a score 3.66 on the 4-point scale. And it is very gladdening to know that in that accreditation cycle, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda deemed university stood second in the nation. First was the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Second is Vivekananda University. This is an overview, the aerial view of the Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda deemed university. You see two buildings. One is academic block and the other is administrative block. Medical science institutes and research centers, we have two of them. First, Vivekananda Polyclinic and Institute of Medical Sciences run by Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission Sevashrama, Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. Second, Vivekananda Institute of Medical Sciences, a postgraduate medical college and research center at Ramakrishna Mission Seva Pratishthan, Kolkata, West Bengal. We'll see the picture. This is the polyclinic in Lucknow. It is a multi-speciality center. This is the research institute that we have in Seva Pratishthan, Kolkata. We have 11 colleges. Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College, Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Peetha, Chennai. The same college also runs one more independent body, though in the same place. It is Evening College, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Evening College, Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Peetha, Chennai. Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Coimbatore. Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandira, Ramakrishna Mission Sharada Peetha, Belur Mutt, Kolkata. Ramakrishna Mission Residential College, Autonomous College in Narendrapur, Kolkata. Next we have this illustrious institution, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahara, Kolkata. Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya College of Education in Coimbatore, that is the B.Ed College. Ramakrishna Mission Shikshana Mandira in Sharadapit, Belur Mutt. Training Institute for Teachers of the Visually Handicapped. It is a very special type of institution. The teachers are trained how to teach the visually handicapped students. It is in Ramakrishna Mission Blind Boys Academy, Narendrapur, Kolkata. Next in Kolkata we have one more here in Rahara, Ramakrishna Mission Brahmananda College of Education. Next, Sri Ramakrishna Adarsha Sanskrit College. It is the only one we have in our institution. Ramakrishna Mutt, Pala or Palai, Kerala. One by one we will see the pictures. This is Vivekananda College in Chennai. Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Coimbatore. Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandira, Kolkata. One interesting thing to be mentioned here is many students of this institute have today become responsible, revered monks of the Most Holy Ramakrishna Order. Ramakrishna Mission Residential College, Kolkata. Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Centenary College, Kolkata, Rahara. Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya College of Education, Coimbatore. Ramakrishna Mission Shikshana Mandira in Belur, Kolkata. Ramakrishna Mission Blind Boys Academy, Narendrapur, Kolkata. Ramakrishna Mission Brahmananda College of Education, Kolkata. This is in Rahara. Sri Ramakrishna Adarsha Sanskrit College, Kerala, run by Ramakrishna Mat Pala. What are the unique contributions of Ramakrishna Mission? How much time? Time? Continue. Unique contribution of Ramakrishna Mission in higher education. We saw some of the challenges which are commonly perceived by the institutions all over India. But Ramakrishna Mission identifies some gap areas in higher education and tries to fill that. What are they? First one, and the most important one, emphasis on character formation. Second, integral personality development. Excellence and innovation in knowledge. Social responsibility and service. Humility and reverential attitude. Dissemination of harmony and peace, which is most needed today in the world. Emphasis on character formation. In principle, if a man is educated, he is civilized. And one who is civilized has a benign character. This is in principle, but it doesn't happen so. Even a highly educated man sometimes is seen to be engaged in objectionable activities. When we notice these things, we lose confidence in education, because even after studying so much, if he can behave like this, then what's the meaning of this education? This question stands before us. To address this, Ramakrishna Mission has risen to the occasion, and from the very beginning, from childhood, when the boys come at a very young age, Ramakrishna Mission tries to instill into them the basic principles of character formation. And Swamiji has given a gospel, as it were, on character development. One small sample is this, Swamiji's quote. Education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain and runs riot there undigested all your life. We must have life-building, man-making, character-making assimilation of ideas. If you have assimilated 5 ideas and made them your life and character, you have more education than any man who has got by heart a whole library. I will give a small example. Say the students are all going on a trip, educational trip. Your teacher says something. He gives a small piece of suggestion and advice. Obviously, the students are expected to understand what it means. But we have noticed even a rank holder, a gold medalist, will not understand that small piece of suggestion fully. Why? Can any one of you say? So many instances are there. The reason is this: he has some preconceived notions in his mind and he wants something. So the teacher's words will not sink deep in his mind. Teacher will have to come down and tell more things, should make it more clear. Many such instances we see, and we understand that this education has not changed the man within. So Ramakrishna Mission is more concerned with dealing with the person inside you, or the man inside your person. So that is man-making education. This is one of the gap areas which Ramakrishna Mission struggles to fulfill. Practice of precepts in day-to-day life. Say you study mathematics, you study science, biology, chemistry, and so many things. For example, let us take biology. If you have scored the highest marks in biology, but when you are going out of this room, you see that some ants or some small insects are moving on the floor. You are going with your friends and having fun now. How many of you would stop to change your direction to save the life of that small insect? If you cannot do that, you have not understood biology. Though you are a gold medalist, it is nothing. If you can value the life, biology is the science of life. If you can value and respect other life, then your studying biology is fruitful. So this we come to know that many times the precepts which we learn are not followed in our day-to-day life. So this is the area where Ramakrishna Mission contributes. The Maharaj who are present here, they will teach you. Ektu udike jabi, ta Krishna. And you should know that Maharaj deserves the greatest gratitude from you, because he is trying to make you a man, not an educated beast. So that is what we learn. One small example. Nowadays, psychology says, and the neuroscience says, they have come up with gamma rays in the brain, beta rays, alpha rays, and they have found out the significance, what means what. So many things are there. But eventually, or as a result of all that research, they say that a few minutes of peaceful thought will put you in balance. What does it mean? You spend a few minutes in either prayer or in peaceful thought or in rhythmic breathing. So many means are there. But how many of those neuroscientists will sit down every day to perform this? Will they every day practice meditation in the morning for 5 minutes? He may be a neuroscientist. This Ramakrishna Mission teaches our boys who don't know neuroscience, but they will get the fruit of that neuroscience. One small example. You all know this. Oh, here it was a video. It is a video of the prayer conducted in the hostels of Ramakrishna Mission. Since you have the direct experience, I need not demonstrate that here. You are all called upon in the morning and evening to sit down and give some thought to your own self. That is what it means in the prayer and meditation. This practicing of what you learn is a specialty in Ramakrishna Mission institutes. Next, the gap area, the second gap area is the integral personality development. 5 minutes. A complete personality, an integral personality, constitutes of 4 dimensions: physical, mental or intellectual, moral, and spiritual. Here, in India especially, spiritual aspect is very much present there and is awakened in our beings, as Swamiji has told that even a farmer knows what religion is. That's not much necessary. Our problem, the Indian boys and girls and students and even the youth, even aged people, the problem is physical weakness. Swamiji says, we speak of many things parrot-like but never do them. For instance, you take prayer. We know that our Maharaj will come and pull us out for the morning prayer. But the boy is sleeping still. Not that he does not want to go to prayer. He is unable to get up. His body is weak. That is why Swamiji said, we speak of many things parrot-like, like a parrot, but never do them. Speaking and not doing has become a habit with us, the Indians. What is the cause of that? Physical weakness. This sort of weak brain is not able to do anything. We must strengthen it. You all, the students, know that there will be study hour in the residential colleges of Ramakrishna Mission. After prayer, there will be study hour. You have to sit down for study. Our student says, the boy says that he is having a headache. He is feeling drowsy. Why? Your brain, Swamiji says, your brain is weak. Brain is weak means the nerves are not strong enough to take the load of studies, let alone spiritual illumination. That's a different thing. That needs the most robust body for that. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Ashishto dridhishto balishtaha. That we will think later on. Now first let us understand how we can study well and achieve excellence in our education. For that also we need a strong body. Swamiji says, this sort of weak brain is not able to do anything, we must strengthen it. First of all, our young men must be strong. Religion will come afterwards. Like this, there are several things. I think I am running beyond the time. I will end with this. Only this one quote. What sort of an education Swamiji would prescribe to you? If Swamiji were there in the committee now which is trying to implement the national educational policy, etc., what would Swamiji have said? Swamiji would say that don't give them textbooks and ask them to learn that. Instead of that, train their mind to achieve the highest level of concentration by which the student himself, like a rishi, will come up with a new science. Swamiji says, to me, the very essence of education is concentration of mind, not the collecting of facts which our students do for the competitive exams. If today you want to get a fellowship, NET, JRF, whatever it is, CS, whatever, so many scholarships are there. You need to gather so much of data and will have to produce it in the exam. It is necessary, not that it is not necessary, but that is not all. Swamiji says, to me the very essence of education is concentration of mind and not collection of facts. If I had to do my education over again and had any voice in the matter, I would not study facts at all. I would develop the power of concentration and detachment, and then with a perfect instrument is the mind, I could collect facts at will. Side by side, in the child should be developed the power of concentration and detachment. Both should come together, or else what happens is he will get attached to something and will be unable to get out of that. Both are necessary. Swamiji, that's why he says side by side concentration. That means to bring the entire, all the faculties to one focus, as well as to withdraw that concentration also should be taught. Thus, these are the wonderful areas where Ramakrishna Mission today contributes in higher education. I close this talk with, I feel, one more small thing I will mention. When did Ramakrishna Mission begin to contribute in higher education? Can any of you students say? Once more, when did Ramakrishna Mission start to contribute in the field of higher education? We should know this contribution, this process started with Ramakrishna himself. Actually, I had written the other point, humility and reverential attitude. There I was supposed to discuss that. I will just tell this and I'll close my talk. How is it? Because Ramakrishna, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna taught the postgraduates and doctors of his age. One example. In those days, nearly 200 years ago, Master Mahashai, Mahendranath Gupta came to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. In the very first meeting, Sri Ramakrishna was talking to him and asked him about his preference. Would he like to worship a god with form or without form? In that it is very nice. You can read that in the Kathamrita Grantha, the first meeting of Master Mahashaya with Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. When Thakur was speaking about these things, he got to know that Master Mahashaya has a predilection, has a preference for without form, God without form. Well, but Ramakrishna said, but God is also with form. Then immediately this man, highly educated, higher education he has had, he has completed postgraduate in those days, you should know. In those days, post-graduation means today is somewhat like a postdoctoral endeavor. The standard was so good in those days. He was a postgraduate. He said that he immediately came out that then how can this form, this which is a stone image, how can that be a god? Ramakrishna says, no, stone image is not God. Stone image is a representation of God. As if in your home, if you have the photo of your great-grandfather, is that photo your great-grandfather? It is a representation of your great-grandfather, and that brings to your mind love, affection, concern, and so many things. And by looking at that, you feel happy. In the same way, this is a representation. Okay, that's a different topic. What did Master Mahashaya do after this? He committed a blunder. He said, because he had learned, he thought he is a highly educated man. He said that, oh Mahashaya, then we have to inform those people who worship in the form that it is not God. Sri Ramakrishna gave a slap in words, not in hand. He gave a slap and said, this is the problem with you guys of Kolkata. You want to give knowledge to others which you yourself don't have. There Ramakrishna taught him he said, who are you to teach that? Have you realized who God is? Then why do you speak on that? This is one of the, what we can say, weakness of great professors. What they will do is, because he is an established professor, renowned with fame, he will think that he can speak on any topic. Ramakrishna Mission will teach you here. You keep your mouth shut. Only in your area you are a teacher. In other things, it is better you be humble and learn. This education which you get from Ramakrishna Mission is not available elsewhere. But other institutions are there. There are very good institutions who are concentrating on these things. Our institution is also one of the pioneering institutions in these fields. With this, I end my talk. Thank you all. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your mesmerizing speech. On behalf of the college, I offer my humble pranam to you. Now, I would like to invite on the stage Swami Ekachittanandaji Maharaj, Principal, Ramakrishna Mission Residential College, Narendrapur. Now I would like to request our revered Principal Maharaj to kindly felicitate the dignitary. Now I would request revered Swami Ekachittanandaji Maharaj, Principal Ramakrishna Mission Residential College, Narendrapur, to deliver his speech on the topic Role of Ramakrishna Mission in the Field of Relief and Rehabilitation.
Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. So my reverential pranams to revered Kamalasthanandaji Maharaj, who happens to be a teacher of my own self, because incidentally I was a student at Narendrapur College when he was one of the monastic members there. And later also, even during my monastic life, I have received counseling from revered Maharaj many a times. But today I feel a bit shaky because our earlier speaker Japasiddhanandaji has made my task even more difficult, because he has mentioned that the person who has not studied a particular topic of his own should not utter even a sentence regarding that particular area. So during my span of 10 years or so, whatever, 20 years or so, in this Holy Ramakrishna order, I haven't spent much of time in relief activities. Of course, quite a few occasions like COVID relief, almost every ashrama conducted relief and rehabilitation activities, so I had to take part. But barring those few, I'm really a novice in this particular area. But following the instructions of the teacher, revered Principal Maharaj, so I have taken up the task. So it's really inspiring and imposing to see a galaxy of monks before me, but at the same time it's challenging as well. And my respectful namaskar to all the monastics as well as the teachers, non-teaching staff who are present here, and my loving namaskar and good wishes to beloved students. So, just would like to begin from the point where from Japasiddhananda ji concluded his speech. So Sri Ramakrishna himself stands for everything that Ramakrishna mission has contributed over the span of 125 years. Because genesis of each and every activity can be traced back to LOVE personified. Sri Ramakrishna essentially speaks of harmony of religions. He speaks of God realization to outsiders, to devotees, and to all the followers of the Ramakrishna movement. But then, to the insiders who had come close to Sri Ramakrishna, he stands for pure bliss, pure love, unconditional love. And that emanated from his feeling of oneness, feeling of Advaita. After traversing paths in different modes of dualistic sadhana, at the point of culmination, he had the realization that God is present in each and every being, is all pervading. So that's what he terms as the state of jnana. So regarding jnana, he says that one should go on discriminating, I am not this body, not this mind, not this intellect, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, I am he. That one feeling of oneness, that should come towards the end. And chhade othar par, after reaching the terrace, the roof, one should have a feeling that the very element with which the stepping stones were created, that indeed finally gives shape to the roof itself. So the essential components are the one and the same. So that oneness is the essence of the Vedanta, especially the practical Vedanta which Swami Vivekananda talked of both inside India and outside. And that he received, that particular dictum he received from Sri Ramakrishna. Possibly each and every student present here has heard of the narration of that particular incident, Shivajnana Jivaseva, when it was uttered there at Dakshineshwar, in the midst of his close and ardent devotees. Sri Ramakrishna was speaking of the fundamental principles of Vaishnavism, and there he narrated that particular Mahavakya, Shivajnana Jivaseva, regarding Jivedaya. He said that nobody is fit for uttering a word on Daya so long as he is sitting on the same pedestal with the person to whom the service is being rendered. So essentially, everyone is having that pure consciousness as the Samam Bonam. So from that standpoint, from that Advaitic standpoint, we have no right to have compassion to other beings, rather we should have feeling of oneness, sameness with others. So Sri Ramakrishna himself performed this Narayana Seva, Naranarayana Seva in his own life, and that also is a very, very familiar, popular incident that Ramakrishna Mission students must be aware of. And those incidents took place at Deoghar and Koilaghat near Ranaghat. Sri Ramakrishna was having a journey, a sojourn with his fellow Madhuranath and others towards Kashi, and en route he found famished people who had lost their body, mind and everything, their enthusiasm due to lack of nourishment. And seeing their plight, Sri Ramakrishna was overwhelmed and instructed Mathur to donate them clothing, garment and food and morsel, whatever essentials, so that they can be served in a proper way. And a similar incident took place near Ranaghat, Koilaghat. And the similar courses of service, rendering service, practical service, we can trace back to the lives of the Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi as well as Swami Vivekananda himself, because in the very early childhood of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, by the way, every document, every picture that I'm going to present before you has been collected from the Ramakrishna Mission Relief web place. That from I have collected and simply sharing with you. So these are the pictures taken from the biography of Holy Mother, where you can find that poor people, famished people, possibly during the 1868 Odisha famine, they were suffering from all around Odisha and Bengal. The same picture you can see, and Holy Mother herself serves the hungry people, serving them with fan and feeding them with khichdi. And similar thing we can see in the life of Swamiji after having a triumphant return from the West, when Swamiji was back to Belur and passing off the last days in his mortal frame. He was having so much love and affinity towards his Santal followers, and he used to distribute food and eatables with utmost love to their fellow beings. Actually, incidents are plenty and we don't want to elaborate everything. But then Swamiji gave a clarion call for serving God in man. And who was going to execute? Those days, ideas were not clear to each and every one, not even to his brother disciples, what to speak of their other followers. So, during those days, Swamiji had great faith on Trigunatitanandaji, Akhandanandaji and Shashi Maharaj, Ramakrishna-nandaji. One of his celebrated letters, Swamiji writes to Trigunatitanandaji, তুই শশী আর গঙ্গাধর এরা তিনজন দেখছি ফেইথফুল, তোদের হাতে মুখে সরস্বতী বসবেন, তোরা এমন কাজ করবি যে জগৎ হাঁ করে তাকিয়ে দেখবে. So he had that much of faith in the trio, and Swami Akhandanandaji is favorite Ganges. So he took up the idea and tried to translate for the first time there at Sargachi near Murshidabad, all of you must be aware of. And actually it started with Rajasthan. During his mendicant days, he was moving to so many places. To Tibet also, he was much moved by the plight of the Tibetans. In the monastery, Buddhist monastery, he could see the difference between the rich and the poor, and he uttered his anguish in clear language. And then he was going to wandering there at Rajputana, and there also he instructed the king that first the poor peasants should be served with utmost care. And finally, when he came back to Bengal and was moving towards Navadvip, Nadia, he suddenly came across these series of events. Incidentally, we see the similarity between the two incidents. Sri Ramakrishna serving poor men there at Vaidyanath Dham, Devghar, as well as Akhandanandaji taking up the task there at Sargachi. Both had the common background, both were out on pilgrimage, were trying to see darshan of Bhagavan there at the temple, and finally that culminated in having darshan of the Lord in human beings. So that way, Akhandanandaji could see famished people everywhere around him, and finally he settled down there at Mahula, started relief operations in 15th of May, exactly after 2 weeks of foundation of Ramakrishna Mission. On 1st May 1897 it began, and slowly the news came to Swami Vivekananda and other brother disciples. Ramakrishnanandaji took up the task of collecting funds, raising funds there in the south, and Sister Nivedita, when he got the news, she also tried to contribute to her utmost capacity. So when Nivedita came here to India and could see Akhandanandaji, the first sentence she uttered was, "Oh, famine Swami." So that way she could identify Akhandanandaji. And he was ably assisted by Brahmachari Sureshwaranandaji. And Sureshwaranandaji in his reminiscences maintains that whenever and wherever Akhandanandaji came across the suffering of the people, he felt a deep urge from within that I must do something. And finally the divine ordination, the divine dictum came from Sri Ramakrishna, "Dakna ki hai." And that way he was directed at each and every step by the divinity. And then towards the end, when the mission in its own way took its own shape, and the plague relief was assisted by the district magistrate E.H. Lavinge, and the mission authorities, they decided to send Trigunatidanandaji for giving a formal vote of thanks to Lavinge, district magistrate. Trigunatidanandaji incidentally had to take up another task of conducting a relief operation, famine relief, there at Dinajpur. So that way he was the first able successor of Akhandanandaji. So it has a tremendous impact in the local newspapers as well as the all India and international newspapers. A glimpse we can have from the Madras Mail September 10 issue. The relief operations in Bengal are somewhat unique in that they have created what is probably a precedent, the government working hand in hand with sannyasins in a public cause. Swamiji had noticed that the insufficient preparations as well as inefficient government machineries, that was the root cause for not being able to meet the demand of the day. And it was the right time for the sannyasins to take up this noble task. So in this instance, the entire responsibility has been handed over to the monks, has been so ably carried out to our special commendation of the commissioner of the district. So that was only the beginning, and Swamiji's work was going to manifest, going to increase thousandfold as days went on. So subsequently we see Trigunatidanandaji taking up the task of relief during August 1897 to November, and Birajanandaji went there to Deoghar for relief. And Prakashanandaji served at Dakshineshwar for nearly 3 months, 4 months. And Kalyananandaji and Swarupanandaji took up the task of famine relief there at Rajputana in 1899. So, Swamiji was back to India and back to his Calcutta, as he used to identify himself as Calcutta boy. Incidentally, we have been celebrating 125 years of his historic comeback to India. So, there in the historic Calcutta address delivered here at Shobhabajar Rajbadi, Swamiji said that takaye manush kore na, manushi taka kore. So it's man that makes money and not the other way around. So that's what we see during the initial phase of these relief activities, the movement. People had very poor funding. And Akhandanandaji, Trigunadidanandaji, and here you can see Sadanandaji had no such assistance from external sources. But they had that character, they had that zeal. I have to contribute to the utmost of my ability. And incidentally, that time we had Sister Nivedita with us to assist and guide the relief activities plague, which was waiting for its detrimental jump there at Kolkata. 1898, people were very much afraid and fleeing from the city to suburbs and villages, like anything and everything they were running. So Swamiji himself came down from Darjeeling. He settled down there at the very north center of the relief activities, along with his fellow countrymen, and Nivedita was entrusted with the task of serving with both the secretary as well as the president of the relief committee, and he was assisted by Sadanandaji as well as Shivanandaji and others. And we can find in contemporary newspapers this issue has been given much importance. The Ramakrishna Mission plague volunteers are to be met within Calcutta in the district streets and fill the bastis. Kumud Bandhu Sen, who was the disciple of Swamiji, he could recollect in his reminiscences, his writes, that Sadanandaji was so much devoted that when the cleaners, the sweepers, they were unwilling to take up the task, he himself came forward and cleans the whole basti. And seeing that a monk was ready to come forward, the cleaners were much moved, and they ultimately joined him. That was the thing in numerous occasions. So helping to clear plague spots, encouraging the people, consoling them in their affliction, and teaching them to live clean lives. And this is done without the expenditure of much money. That's what writes the Indian Mirror in 21st April 1900. So that way the movement started, and we can see that 125 years have elapsed, but the same mantra, the same philosophy works even today. Uninterruptedly, the same ethos have been preserved and translated in day-to-day life. So Shivanandaji was the second president of the order, as well as Saradanandaji's two celebrated quotes I would like to share with you. So Shivanandaji, in 1909, when a monk was going to Bakuda and going to conduct famine relief, Shivanandaji gave his blessings. Tomar hridaye sada sarbada prabhur srimurti jagoruk thakuk এবং সেই বলে তোমরা তাহার দীন দরিদ্র মূর্তিদের সেবা যথাসাধ্য করিতে সমর্থ হও. So to the afflicted people whom we come across during our service activities. They are veritable manifestations of God. That very faith is the fundamental cornerstone of these movement. And Saradananda Ji, he then came across one of the monks was going to take up the task of relief, and he inquired him, what are you going to attain? What are you going to contribute of your own? What is going to be your role in this relief program? Parer taka porke dibi, because we have collected money from people, from devotees, from our followers of Ramakrishna movement. So parer taka porke dibi. So that is going to be distributed to the needy people. That's what, in the monetary terms, it means. Tui ki divi. What are you going to do of your own? When you say that annadana, pranadana, or whatever I'm going to conduct, it means I have to give something. So what is that X element? Barring that material, the blanket or food or eatables or whatever, you have to give something X. So what is that? Tui dibi tor hriday pran mon bhalobasha. So your heart, your soul, your love. So basically the same thing L-O-V-E personifies Sri Ramakrishna was. So this bhalobasha, this love has to be nurtured in our own life, feeling of oneness, and then has to be shared with the people we encounter during the relief program. So one more incident I would like to share with you. A senior monk once asked a junior monk who had returned after conducting relief operations, what did you accomplish? So materially there is nothing much appreciable. When you people go for COVID relief or some other flood relief or famine relief, I believe that some of you must have at least first-hand experience of joining the relief teams. So what is going to be your accomplishment? Materially nothing. So the junior monk rattled off some data about the quantity of items donated. There's so many blankets have been distributed, or so many clothings or garments or whatever, or so many people have been fed and clad. So these are the things he was going to utter. The senior monk rephrased the question, what was your contribution? These are the things you have collected from people. You have simply distributed, redistributed, nothing original. So what is your contribution? As the junior monk struggled to answer, the senior monk then elaborated, never forget that all you possess is your purified mind, chitta shuddhi they say. The more unselfish we become, the more bliss we can feel within us. So that sense of satisfaction, that feeling of pure bliss, that's what we can accrue, that you can direct towards service of others while seeing the divine in them. So these are the graphical analysis we can see from our website. 1897 to 2009, a number of activities have taken place, and phase-wise they have analyzed. 1897 to 1906, it was till independence. It was going with certain, with limited resources, in a limited manner, and post-independence we can see that it has increased substantially. So number of relief activities have gone up, steady increase post-independence. So average expenditure, that also has increased substantially after especially this new millennium. The expenditure has also increased a number of times. So primary relief operations have been conducted in different sectors. Initially it began with famine relief and flood relief, and it was mainly confined to Bengal and adjoining states. But then it increased. Flood, cyclone, drought, earthquake and tsunami, fire, medical relief, winter relief, everything we can find within the domain of relief. And this is a representational figure which shows that really to the needy people, the Ramakrishna Mission monks go. The wonderful methodology they have devised over the ages. First, they select the area where the service has to be rendered, the relief activity has to be conducted, and then the message comes through the local branch center to the Ramakrishna Mission headquarters, and then headquarters relief section then decides whether to take up the task or not, whether the time is appropriate or not. And once decided, they send a group of monks to assist the local ashrama, and a group of volunteers also join the relief team. And the first thing they do is conducting a survey. So whether people are really needy or not, that's what is first of all studied, and to which group the relief material should reach, that is discussed and decided after the primary survey. So a group of monks, you can see, endangering their own existence, their own lives, they come forward during the flood relief. And here you can see the ex-Prime Minister, Mr. Morarji Desai, is inaugurating one relief center. And 1978 flood relief also, it was conducted in Bengal, and numerous people were served. And similar visuals we can find during winter. Numerous centers even today conduct winter relief, giving away blankets and other winter garments. And in 1982 flood rehabilitation. So it is relief activities are they are supported by rehabilitation projects. So that takes much of time, much of energy, because a group of experts have to go to that particular area, and monetary assistance have to be ensured from various quarters, from governmental as well as non-governmental sources. So this particular Sarada Balika Vidyalaya we can find is being inaugurated in 1982 post flood relief operations. So this Vivekananda Bridge came up post the cyclone in 1999-2000 in Andhra Pradesh, 120 meters long, and for the first time possibly in history, one NGO taking up the task of constructing a full-fledged bridge over a river Godavari. So tsunami relief was followed by the rehabilitation project, and Suryanagar we can see that residential complex is coming up. And 2007, again similarly, Bihar flood relief was taken up by the monks and was supported by the local residents and volunteers. And Ayla 2009, possibly all of you must have witnessed the same thing, the dreaded cyclone that hit Bengal and especially the southern part of the state. And Ramakrishna monks went there with their arms of service. And Uttarakhand flood relief, that was dreaded reality in 2013. And people were simply swept away, caught unaware and simply swept away by the Hadka Ban. So That time, Ramakrishna Mission jumped and started the flood relief with their utmost care and strength. So this is what we can find, the torn up building, which was Ramakrishna Mission, which tried to renovate with their limited resources. Yes, that is again a visual which shows that even daring your own lives, the monks has to go and serve the people. And COVID relief, I'm sure each and everyone can recollect, and most of you must have taken part in that also. So each and every part of the country it was conducted, and barring the barriers of caste, religion, and political affiliation, people were served by the Ramakrishna monks and volunteers. So these are visuals from different centers, and maintaining all the COVID protocols, they were done. And unfortunately, this dreadful COVID was accompanied by Amphan, and there also the task got increased thousandfold for the Ramakrishna Mission. And just to mention that they were not confined to the states of India. Even abroad, the activities are going on in full swing. During COVID also, it was taken up. And we can see that in Fiji, in Bangladesh, in Afghanistan, Nepal, Russia, Sri Lanka especially, these activities are going in along various dimensions. And a small statistical analysis has been done in this particular table. Wherever we have got centers, we try to lend our arms to service. So these are all the chronicles of the natural calamities. There is one more dimension of the relief activity that needs our attention, draws our attention. Man-made disasters, ethnic clashes, communal riots, these things, political violences, these are the realities. Even 100 years back it was the same thing, and today, post-independence also we can see. And the mission comes forward and tries to serve people wherever they get opportunities. So this was the case in 1947, and then East Pakistan refugees, they were flowing like anything. Both they are from the East Bengal, Bangladesh, and even after partition, even after formation of Bangladesh, the influx continued. And then during the Japanese attack, that's what I have not mentioned here. So, Second World War, when Japan was invading Bengal and other parts of the country, man-made disaster, and famine was the immediate outcome, because the British government, they took up the policy of earth scorching principle. So people should not be, all the sources of food and eatables should be removed. That's what the policy that the government took up. So the outcome was famine, immediate drought and famine. So these are the fundamental cardinal principles of these relief activities in a nutshell. Service to God in man, that's what I mentioned towards the beginning. And one incident I would like to share. Once upon receiving the news of a natural disaster, the General Secretary Maharaj had decided to initiate relief activities in the affected area and instructed a group of monks to go there from Belur Math. So a monk went to Howrah station direct and purchased tickets. He got reservations. And when he came back to the General Secretary Maharaj and reported the same thing, he got furious, told that we have got paucity of fund. Money is collected from the devotees for serving the poor people. Why should it be utilized for luxury? So simply procuring one ticket, getting reservation, that was being termed as a way of luxury. So that was the principle with which our movement started. Of course, the situation has improved over time. The financial hardship is no longer a reality these days, but the ethos remain the same. So rendering service, cutting the barriers of caste and religion, perfectly apolitical. Swamiji wanted total political alienation from political affairs. So that's why we had to face difficulties at times, odds at times. But even then, the movement with its own strength, the strength of character, the strength of oneness of feeling, with that it has moved on and on. And helping the served standing on their own legs. And the afflicted should not be made dependent on the Ramakrishna mission monks. That's what Swamiji dictated to Swami Shuddhanandaji, his beloved disciple, during the initial phase of relief, Mahula relief work. Shuddhanandaji, to Shuddhanandaji Swamiji wrote, Akhandananda Mahulate অদ্ভুত কর্ম করছে বটে, কিন্তু কার্যপ্রণালী ভালো বলে বোধ হচ্ছে না। মনে হয় তারা একটা গ্রামেই তাদের শক্তিক্ষয় করছে, তাও কেবল চাল বিতরণের কার্যে। জনসাধারণকে যদি আত্মনির্ভরশীল হতে শেখানো না যায়, তবে জগতের সমগ্র ঐশ্বর্য ভারতের একটা ক্ষুদ্র গ্রামের পক্ষেও পর্যাপ্ত হবে না। So he has been rendering exemplary service, Akhandanandaji. Swamiji had that tremendous faith, but the methodology does not look sound. So what has to be done? People has to be conveyed, they has to be taught secular education. They have to be instructed in such a manner that they can stand on their own legs. They can find solutions to their own problems. So that has been the very core principle of Ramakrishna Mission relief activities. We don't try to make people dependent on the organization or any individual. Simply what we try to impart is the message of the Holy Trio, the Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother and Swami Vivekananda. We have been following their principles that has been laid down in their teachings as well as in their own lives, and simply we have been following that dictum. And I mean, nothing personal, nothing individual credit, nobody claims at the individual level. So with these few words and a few visuals, few narratives, I would like to conclude once again thanking revered Maharaj, offering my pranams to Maharaj, and offering my thanks and gratitude to all other monks and teachers and non-teaching staff, as well as to my beloved students. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you, Maharaj, for enlightening us with your valuable speech. Now, for the next technical session, I would like to invite revered Swami Krishnamritananda Ji Maharaj, Headmaster, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Vidyapit, Narayanpur, Chhattisgarh, and Sri Apurba Das, Principal, Ramakrishna Mission English School, Siddhagoda, Jamshedpur, Jharkhand, to kindly come over the dais and take their seats. Now I would Now I would request our revered Vice Principal Maharaj, Swami Vedanuragananda Ji Maharaj, to kindly felicitate the dignitaries. Now I would like to invite revered Swami Krishnamritananda Ji Maharaj, Headmaster, Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Vidyapit, Narayanpur, Chhattisgarh, to kindly deliver his speech on the topic Role of Ramakrishna Mission in the field of tribal education and empowerment, especially Chhattisgarh.
ॐ नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. My respectful pranams to Swami Ekachittananda Ji Maharaj, Swami Kamalasthananda Ji Maharaj, and other monks, my respectful namaskar, and my dear brothers, all students. Role of Ramakrishna Mission in the field of tribal education and empowerment, especially in Chhattisgarh. Today, I would like to discuss the remarkable service carried out by the Ramakrishna Mission in the tribal areas of India, with a particular focus on their work in the state of Chhattisgarh. The Ramakrishna Mission is a renowned spiritual organization inspired by the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsadeva and his disciples, Swami Vivekananda and others. Established in 1897, the Ramakrishna Mission aims to uplift humanity through various welfare services, activities, educational initiatives, and spiritual guidance. India is a land of immense diversity, and within its vast landscape are numerous tribal communities, often residing in remote and economically disadvantaged areas. These tribal communities face numerous challenges, including poverty, illiteracy, inadequate health care, lack of infrastructures, and social marginalization. Recognizing the pressing need to address these issues, Ramakrishna Mission has extended its services to uplift these tribal communities and improve their quality of life. Serve the Jiva as a Shiva. You can see these photos, recent photos of tribal area in Chhattisgarh. Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, Serve the Jiva as a Shiva, encapsulates the idea that by serving others selflessly, we can recognize and honor the divine presence within them. Swami Vivekananda has made it our mission to put this teaching into practice. We strive to serve humanity, disregarding distinctions of caste, creed, or nationality. Our service extends to the tribal areas of India, where marginalized communities often face unique challenges and hardships. One of the factors that moved the Ramakrishna Mission to work among the tribal community is the exhortation of Swami Vivekananda, keep the motto before you, the elevation of masses without injuring their religion. He further wrote, can you give them, that means the masses, back their lost individuality without making them lose their innate spiritual nature? This is to be done, and we will do it. It is known to all the mass conversion is quite common in tribal areas. Hence, their age-old value-based life, that is, their individuality, was disappearing. Ramakrishna Mission started the service work to address these situations. Education is a crucial aspect of the Ramakrishna Mission's work. For the last 125 years, the Ramakrishna Mission has established many renowned educational institutions in India, having its own colleges, vocational training centers, high schools, primary schools, teachers training institutions, as well as schools for the visually handicapped, and has provided exemplary services to the society through its quality and nationalistic education. They have set up schools and hostels in tribal areas, providing quality education and boarding facilities to children from underprivileged backgrounds. These institutions focus not only on academic education but also on imparting moral values and character development. By providing education, the mission aims to break the cycle of poverty and equip the tribal youth with the skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in life. Healthcare is another critical area where the Ramakrishna Mission has made significant contributions. They have established hospitals, dispensaries, and mobile medical units in tribal regions where access to healthcare is limited. These medical facilities provide essential healthcare services, including primary healthcare, preventive care, and specialized treatment. Through these initiatives, the mission ensures that the tribal communities receive timely and adequate health care, improving their overall well-being. Furthermore, the Ramakrishna Mission emphasizes sustainable rural development programs in tribal areas to address social and economic challenges faced by tribal communities. They undertake initiatives, sustainable agriculture practices such as promoting organic farming, watershed management, and skill development programs for the tribal villagers. These programs not only create employment opportunities but also enhance the self-reliance and economic stability of the tribal communities. Also, the Ramakrishna Mission organizes cultural and spiritual activities to preserve and promote the rich cultural heritage of the tribal communities. By celebrating their rituals, festivals, and promoting their art forms, the mission fosters a sense of pride and self-esteem among the tribes while also promoting intercultural understanding. In addition to these aspects, the Ramakrishna Mission also actively engaged in social welfare activities such as providing relief during natural disasters, distributing food and clothing to the needy, and conducting cultural and spiritual programs to promote harmony and unity among different communities. Through their holistic approach, the Ramakrishna Mission aims to serve the tribal areas of India by uplifting the communities, providing them with education, healthcare, livelihood opportunities, and preserving their cultural identity. By serving the tribal population in this manner, the mission ensures that the dictum of serve the Jiva as Shiva is put into action, recognizing and honoring the divinity inherent in every individual, irrespective of their social background. Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Narayanpur in the state of Chhattisgarh, being one of the 269 branch centers of Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission Belur Mutt headquarters, completed its 38 years of service for the upliftment of the local tribes in and around Narayanpur district, and particularly for the Abuj Madiyas, one of the primitive tribal group categorized as a particularly vulnerable tribe group, PVTG, of India. With the ideal of Atmana Mokshartham Jagaditaicha in mind, about 38 years ago, on 2nd August 1985, the Ramakrishna Mission's Karma Yajna seeds were sown at the holy land of Dandakaranya, Narayanpur, by Taponistha and Karmat Sannyasi of Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, which has grown into a huge tree there today. Now many helpless tribal people are resting in the cool shade of that tree. Narayanpur is the gateway to Abujmad. Abujmad Hills in Chhattisgarh. Abujmad has a tribal population of about 37,000, inhabiting some 237 far-flung villages over a sprawling area of 4,000 square kilometers. It is described as a tangled knot of hills, having an inaccessible terrain that remains absolutely cut off from the rest of the civilized world for about 4 months in a year, even to this today. Abujmad region is about 95 km long from north to south and about 55 km broad from east to west. A large part of this area is uneven and separated by numerous streams. The word Abujmad is the combination of two words, Abuj meaning unknown and the other word Mad meaning highland. True to its name, it still continues to be more or less an unknown and non-surveyed area. The inhabitants of this area are called Abuj Madiyas. Metakoitar or the Hilmadias or Abujmadias, as they are popularly known now, are a primitive tribe of their origin with almost no history at all. They had to work hard to have morsel of food. Literacy was almost nil. Surrounded on all sides by a chain of hills, dense forest, this vast tract of land is home to perhaps the most primitive tribe still surviving and is sparsely populated. The Hilmadias living in the hills happens to be the most predominant inhabitants of this vast area, backward and disadvantaged in many ways. Because of their extreme geographical isolation for long, the Hilmadias have primitive economy, mainstay being the slash and burn cultivation practice on the steep hill slopes. They also collect forest products like chironji, tamarind, resin, cocoons, sinhadi leaves, mahua, sal seeds, tendupatta, layak, etc. In the early 70s, Swami Atmanandaji Maharaj, a dynamic monk of the Ramakrishna mission, visited these tribal areas of Narayanpur, Abujmad, and strongly felt the pathetic condition of tribal people there. The urban people exploited these hill Madhyas by purchasing chironji in exchange of salt. Presently, 1 kg of chironji is around rupees 3,000 rupees. You can understand how they exploited. He remembered Swami Vivekananda's word that education is the only panacea of all evils. Swami Atmanandaji Maharaj wrote to headquarters of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Math, to open a unit at Narayanpur. In the year 1984, former Prime Minister of India, Srimati Indira Gandhi, approached Ramakrishna Mission headquarters to start a branch center in Narayanpur district to uplift the local tribes, especially for these Abujmadiya peoples. The Ramakrishna Mission headquarters then deputed Swami Atmanandaji to look into the matter and to start a branch center there. Srimati Indira Gandhi urged Swami Atmanandaji to begin an ashram center there in order to provide benefits of the government schemes for the people of Abujmadiya. Hence, an ashram and school were constructed in Narayanpur. Swami Atmanandaji was the first secretary of both the center Raipur and Narayanpur respectively. Started on 2nd August 1985, the Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Narayanpur, along with its 6 tribal development centers in the interior of Abujmad of Chhattisgarh state, has been serving the tribal brothers and sisters of the area who had been the mute victims for the several centuries of oppressions and utter neglect. On 31st March 1985, on the Ramanavami day, land of 42 acres at Narayanpur was received on lease from the government of Madhya Pradesh. And on 4th May 1985, on the day of Buddha Purnima, the project started with Bhumi Pujan. On 8 December 1985, most revered Srimad Swami Bhuteshanandaji Maharaj, then Vice President of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, inaugurated the first unit of residential house complex at Narayanpur. Swami Vivekananda called upon his countrymen to do something for the tribal and aborigines. He said with great feelings and pathos, I considered that the great national sin is the neglect of masses. They have been compelled to be merely hewers of wood and drawers of water for centuries, so much so they are made to believe that they are bond slaves. Swamiji said, if the mountain will not go to Muhammad, then Muhammad must go to the mountain. To turn Swamiji's word into action, Vivekananda Vidyapith was established with 40 students on July 2nd, 1986 at Ramakrishna Mission Narayanpur to connect the indigenous people of the Abujmadiya tribe located in the remote and vast forested mountain in the Abujmad area with the mainstream of the modern civilized society. Along with this, Vivekananda Vidya Mandir was established for tribal boys and girls in the villages of Kutul, Kachapal, Iragbhatti, Kundla, Akabada in the forest of Abujmad. Also, Ma Sarada Vidya Mandir was established at Orcha, 66 kilometers from Narayanpur, for tribal girls of Abujmad. Presently, all total 2,730 tribal boys and girls are studying at Narayanpur and its interior tribal development centers. All are residential. Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Narayanpur is working mainly in the 4 streams. Number 1, education, health, agriculture, rural development, livelihood, and number 4, preservation of tribal culture. Abujmad has 237 villages in the forest covering about 4,000 square kilometers. Among them, children from around 200 villages are being brought and taught in the ashram school. All these boys and girls are receiving their first generation learners. Even today, there are families where none of the family members are literate. 85 Anganwadis and 96 mini Anganwadis are being run by the Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Narayanpur as primary school pre-primary school in 181 villages inside Abujmad to maintain the standard of education. A group of 1 or 2 monks and some workers from the ashram traveled from village to village in the forest for about a month and brought about 6-year-old boys and girls from their mother to school for class 1, and this child passed high school in 12 years, leaving for colleges. The Ramakrishna Mission in its small capacity provides admissions to various colleges by providing tuition fees to as many as possible. So far, 1,905 students have passed higher secondary examination. In addition to educational activities, our students are also imparted special training in sports like football, kho-kho, volleyball, gymnastics, malkham, badminton, basketball, table tennis, athletics, yoga, etc. Last 4 years, from 2017 to 2022, our boys under 14 and under 17 are become Chhattisgarh champion in Subrata Cup football tournament and qualified for international Subrata Cup football tournament in Delhi. In the year 2018, one of our students, Suresh Kumar Dhruv, was selected for India under 18 football team and played 46th Asian Football Championship held in Agra. About 250 students participates in state level sports competition and more than 100 students get qualified in national level sports every year. RKM Football Academy senior team last 2 consecutive years has become Chhattisgarh champion in state men's league championship and qualified for 2nd division I league. This community, still rooted in their traditional ways, live in the houses made of mud walls and grass huts. They rely on basic resources provided by the ashram such as clothes, blankets, utensils, which play a crucial role in their daily lives. To preserve their tribal culture, songs, drama, dance, etc. taught in their language in our school. To curb the economic exploitation of the tribal villagers, ashram maintain a fair price shop at is called as a Uchit Mulya Dukan at Narayanpur and its 5 branch centers in interior of Abujmad to provide article of daily needs at reasonable price. These shops have proved to be a boon to the poor tribal of Narayanpur and especially to the Abujmad people during the rainy season when they remain totally cut off from rest of the world. Medical services. Due to lack of proper healthcare services, the tribal people of Abujmad were suffering from high malnutrition and high rate of mother-infant mortality. The primitive economy had forced them to practice and follow black magic to cure themselves. It was a real challenge for Ramakrishna Mission to convince them about the efficacy of medical treatment. Slowly leaving behind their orthodox convictions, the people are developing more confidence to come under the modern method of treatments. And thus, to help these tribal villagers, the Vivekananda Aragodham was set up in the ashram premises. On 26 January 1986, on the Republic Day, the former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Sri Motilal Bora, inaugurated the Vivekananda Aragodham Hospital and a mobile dispensary. Currently, it's a 30-bedded, well-equipped hospital having an outpatient and an inpatient department with experienced medical practitioners. The hospital includes labor room, a pathology laboratory, blood bank, radiology department, medicine with ECG facilities, ultrasonography unit, operation theaters, physiotherapy unit, and a dentistry. Specialties like gynecology, pediatrics, medicine, dermatology, and surgery is available in the hospital. Most of the beneficiaries are tribal who are enjoying all facilities including surgeries free of charges. In Vivekananda Aragadham, around 50,000 patients are being treated annually free of cost. Additionally, we well-equipped mobile medical units with doctors and paramedical staff regularly visits interiors of Abujmad to provide medical treatment. The health workers of the ashram have been able to win the trust of this innocent, simple tribal by going from village to village in the forest, treating the sick with medicines and if necessary bringing them in doli, in কাপড়ের ইয়ে করে ডলি বানিয়ে and admitting them to the hospital of the ashrama. Also inside the forest, in every tribal development center, there is a health post with a doctor where all the people of that area receive primary medical care. The patients whose problems cannot be addressed by the doctors there are sent to Narayanpur ashram in the ashrama's motorcycle ambulance. একটা ভিডিও আপনাকে দেখাই। এই ধরনের আমাদের চলছে, সাউন্ড দরকার নেই। এই ধরনের সিচুয়েশনে আমাদের কাজ করতে হয়। ওখানে কোনো রোড নেই, কোনো গাড়ি যেতে পারে না, এরকম জঙ্গল জঙ্গল দিয়ে গিয়ে আমাদের হেলথ ওয়ার্কার গিয়ে লোকের ট্রিটমেন্ট করে গ্রামে গ্রামে। It is just a glimpse. You can understand how difficult it is to work there. The patients whose problems cannot be addressed by the doctors there are sent to Narayanpur ashrama in the ashram's motorcycle ambulance from the village, where even the motorcycle ambulance cannot go. The patient is brought to the ambulance by a cloth dolly and then sent to Narayanpur ashram by ambulance. Many times when the doctors refer some seriously ill patients to the hospital at Raipur or Bhilai, the ashram bears all the expenses for the treatment of the patient. There are NRC nutrition rehabilitation center in 3 out of 6 centers of the ashrama inside the forest. Each center has 10 beds. The malnourished child with his or her mother is kept here for 15 days, and the child and mother are nursed back to health with nutritious food and medical treatment. A particularly notable service of the Ramakrishna Mission Narayanpur Center is pregnant mothers from the villages are brought to our hospital and given necessary medical treatment. The people of the villages have now grown great faith and trust in the medical services conducted by Ramakrishna Mission Narayanpur. প্রেগনেন্ট মাদার যারা মায়েদের নিয়ে আসা হয় প্রায় 15-20 দিন আগে, যাতে করে প্রেগনেন্টের সময় আনা সম্ভব না, যখন মানে পেন হবে বা ডেলিভারির সময় হয়ে যায় ওই সময় সম্ভব না ওদেরকে নিয়ে আসা, রাস্তা নেই, সেজন্য কমসে কম 15 দিন আগে ওদেরকে ডলি করে গ্রামের থেকে বাইরে মেন রোডে নিয়ে আসতে হয়, ওখান থেকে অ্যাম্বুলেন্সে করে নিয়ে আসতে হয়। তারপরে ওরা এখানে থাকে 15-20 দিন থেকে, তারপরে সেফলি যখন ডেলিভারি হয়ে যায় তারপরেও 15 দিন রাখা হয় বাচ্চাকে মাকে, তারপর ওদেরকে বাড়ি পৌঁছে দেওয়া হয়। বিশ্বাস। Swami Vivekananda observed, there is no chance for the welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. It is not possible for a bird to fly on only one wing. Toward this end, Swami Atmanandaji Maharaj founded another sister institution at Orcha in 1989, which is being managed by non-monastic volunteers with a significant presence of women. This organization was named Viswas Vivekananda Institute of Social Health, Works and Service, and arranged similar government financial support towards it. Viswas has been running a free residential middle school, Ma Sarada Vidya Mandir at Orcha inside Abujmad since June 1995 for Abujmadiya girls. With a view of having a control on the rate of dropout students from school, special coaching facilities in English, mathematics and science for the tribal students studying in government-run schools in Narayanpur and its neighborhood are being run in our Swami Vivekananda Educational Complex since 1st November 2006. Nearly 1500 students are having free coaching in this institute. These students from distant villages are provided with free transport facilities. In addition to this, students are given regularly breakfast, milk, uniforms, sweater, books and stationeries at free of cost. An industrial training institution, ITI, has come into being with hostel facilities since 1st August 2012 with 10 trades, 20 units, electrical, computer operator cum program assistant, mason, welder, fitter, turner, diesel mechanic, tractor mechanics and draftsman civil. Capacity of total number of students are 350. The institute is exclusively dedicated for the upliftment of the tribal youths residing in Abujmad and adjoining tribal areas. The main objective of the institute is to train the unemployed scheduled tribe youth and integrate them into the mainstream society. India is a major agricultural country. However, the Abujmadiya tribals in the vast region of Chhattisgarh had no knowledge of agriculture. They used to practice a method called penda kheti, that's slash and burning, which involved cutting down a part of the forest, setting it on fire and scattering a type of seed called kosra. If rainwater yielded anything, they would extract rice from it, cook it and consume it. In order to educate the tribal about agriculture, the Ramakrishna Mission has established a 52-acre farm. Here they teach the tribals the proper technique for cultivating different crops at different times. The villagers are organized into teams and receive instruction on various types of crops, both within and outside the state. Additionally, they receive training in fisheries, poultry, farming, milk production, mushroom cultivation, and other skills. Essential resources like crop seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, etc., are provided to all the villagers free of charges. These nature loving tribals are fond of hunting in the forest, but hunting is now much less than before. Now, usually during any festival, the villagers all go for hunting together. Animals like leopard, deer, bear, wolf, tiger, wild boar, peacock are found in the forest of the Ojmad. They mostly hunt and eat wild boar. If you go inside the forest, you can see they are roaming inside jungle with bow and arrow in their hands. Monks of Ramakrishna Mission Ashram Narayanpur are always active in instilling self-confidence in the tender hearts of these tribal boys and girls, and at the same time by maintaining their civilization and culture to raise these boys and girls to the highest peak of development. Starting with only 40 students, the Vivekananda Vidyapith of the Ramakrishna Mission is currently manifesting itself in the divine light of education of more than 2,700 students. Swamiji's call for the national upliftment through education has slowly begun to materialize. They are so simple and pure-minded that the negative influences of the present age has not yet touched their hearts. The simplicity and curiosity of children when they see something new and joy in their eyes when they receive a chocolate cannot be explained in words. It is the firm belief of all of us in our ashram that these tribal boys and girls have the special grace of Sri Sri Thakur, Ma and Swamiji, and there is ample proof of that. In conclusion, the Ramakrishna Mission's service in the tribal areas of India, particularly in Chhattisgarh, exemplifies their commitment to societal transformation and human welfare. Through their educational, healthcare, and rural development initiatives, we strive to break the cycle of poverty, provide access to quality services, and empower the tribal communities. The services rendered by the Ramakrishna Mission in tribal areas are the inspiring examples of unselfish loving service. By addressing the multifaceted challenges faced by the tribal communities, the mission strives to uplift them and enable them to lead a dignified and empowered life. Staying in urban area, one cannot comprehend the immensity and diversity of the service activities in tribal areas are conducted by Ramakrishna Mission there. Unless one visits the remote and tribal areas, it is difficult to appreciate our services. I would therefore invite you all to visit our centers in India which are conducting services for the poor, downtrodden people staying in tribal areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your valuable speech. From the behalf of our college, I, I offer my humble pranams to you. Now, I would like to invite Sri Apurva Das, Principal, Ramakrishna Mission, English School, Siddhagoda, Jamshedpur, Jharkhand, to kindly deliver his speech on the topic Role of Ramakrishna Mission in the field of tribal education and empowerment, especially Jharkhand.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Jananing Sharadang Deving Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Namah Sri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Shuraye Shachid Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Revered Swami Kamalasthanandaji, Principal, Vivekananda Centenary College, Rahara, and all the revered monks present here, Brahmachari Maharaj. So my humble pranams to all of you, and dear all the I think faculty here, and dear brothers, students here of this institution, glorious institution. As a student, I tried several times to just get admission here, but I failed. When I was not qualified, then also I couldn't get admission, and when I qualified, right, I came in the merit list, then also I couldn't. And I hope many of our brothers, at least some of you are from Belghoria Ramakrishna Students' Home. Is there anyone? Okay. So I am also, one alumnus there. Fine. And today I have come by Diamond Harbour local. Do you have any experience of traveling? Actually, it is a very tough task. You can really understand the great Swamis, all of them. In the speakers list I saw all revered scholarly monks of Ramakrishna Mission, and they are actually delivering speech. All sadhus are there. I am only the asadhu, isn't it? And sometimes I was just wondering how did it happen? Because of his, it is called ahetuki kripa, and sometimes that love, unconditional love, which our revered Tapas Maharaj has invited me here. And one problem, I'm in a dilemma that already I think it's lunchtime, about to come, and if I am not wrong, many of you are surely are hungry, is it? And when you are hungry, and if I just try to lengthen my speech, you will be angry. Isn't it? So I wanted to finish it maybe within 15 minutes, but there standing Maharaj, he has invited me. So he will get angry if I just stop it. Do you understand my dilemma? So anyway, they are the true representatives of Ramakrishna Mission, our revered monks. Fortunately, like you also, I had been a student and just Belghoria Students' Home, Boarder rather, and then after doing a teacher's job in West Bengal, I left the job in 2012, and I was just thinking to travel the entire just country, length and breadth of India, to do work with the youths, with the man-making and character-building ideas of Swami Vivekananda. That was my plan. But then I got an invitation from the Secretary Maharaj, revered Swami Amrita Rupanandaji of Jamshedpur, and to join a school there. First it was a government school. There are, for your information, 16 schools run by Ramakrishna Mission, Jamshedpur, and one non-formal school for slum children. So among all these 16 schools, there are 5 English medium schools of ICSC, under ICSC, and there is only one +2 school where I am now the principal. It is also a coincidence or maybe an accident I am there. The Maharaj invited me thrice, and the third time I thought that perhaps it would be audacity to say no. And then I joined, and Maharaj told me that you want to work the youths of the country, and here we have 10,000 students. So you can come and just work with them. The platform which you require, it is already there. So I think that it is not a wrong decision. What do you think? So that, anyway, I just tried to prepare on that topic, which you already it has been presented, that one, that work which is going on at Chhattisgarh by our revered Maharaj, Swami Krishnamritananda ji. Then that work which is going on just in Jharkhand. So that work, it is also a tremendous work. It is being done there. And if you go through the entire Jharkhand state and then compare it with the rest of India, one thing is very much clear, that the tribal people of India, according to our that census that report of 2011, that they constitute 8.6% of the country's total population and just 11.3% of the total rural population. And the history of the tribal people, that why are they marginalized? Why do they just stay in areas where the so-called civilized people or locality just is far away from them? Anyway, the reason was somewhat, you can say, a kind of discriminatory attitude by the, you can say, by the people, just men in power at that time, our, you can say, the Jamindars and other people. The farming land which throughout the country, wherever it was there, from these areas, these tribal people were forced to actually live in the jungles, in the hills and mountains. So then come just next the position of Jharkhand, as I told, that out of total tribal population, the you can say largest population actually live in that state of Chhattisgarh. And then next in position, the second position is actually of Jharkhand. Now, when these activities started of Ramakrishna mission with the tribal people in and around Jharkhand, and at that time it was actually, the name was not Jharkhand. What was it? It was undivided Bihar, right? You know it. Now you can see the distribution of these tribal people. And the states where these people live, you can here you can see that there are some states where more than 90% people are tribals. And also then there are 15 major states where the population is the most. And Chhattisgarh has the largest proportion, 30.62%, followed by Jharkhand, 26.21%. And then the next point is also quite important, that 71% of India's scheduled tribes population is also mostly concentrated in 6 states. And you can see it, that Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, they are there, and Jharkhand is also one of them. And this is the distribution of the tribal people of India, and that lower part, you can see the different communities and their distribution. Almost all over it is there, but there are some areas where there is almost no people, no tribal people living there, just like Delhi and that upper, that hilly areas, the tribal people do not live. Now in Jharkhand, I think that we'll come to these things, which will come up. Before there was an introduction and how all these things started, but already you have come across, you have listened to these things from our all revered monks, that how this inspiration for serving the people it came. And we are celebrating 125th year of the service by Ramakrishna mission. But you must be knowing there was an incident which actually was at the behind or at the just you can say which was worked as the main inspiration, and that so many people were sitting at the Lakshmineshwar around Sri Ramakrishna, and then when he was actually deliberating on the basic tenets of Vaishnava Dharma, then he said that three things are there: Name, Ruchi, Vaishnava Pujan, and Jive Daya. These are the three things. And while Sri Ramakrishna was saying that thing, that Jive Daya, all of a sudden, when actually, then he absorbed into deep, in the depth of his just meditative mind, discriminating mind, and from there the response came that we ordinary human beings, Kitanukit, he said, we don't have the audacity to claim that we can just show compassion to beings. So what we can do, that we can do service to them, Shiva. Just the way you worship Shiva, in the same way you will do it. So many people were there, so many disciples, you can say household disciples of Sri Ramakrishna was there, so many, you can say, like these young disciples, they were also there, but only Narendranath heard this and coming out of the room, he said, আজ ঠাকুরের কথায় একটা নতুন লাইট পেলুম, দ্যাট শিব জ্ঞানে, দ্যাট জীব সেবা, ভগবান যদি দিন দেন তাহলে এটিকেই আমি সারা জীবন ধরে কাজে পরিণত করব এবং সারা বিশ্বে এটাকে প্রচার করব। দ্যাট ওয়াজ দ্য রেজলিউশন হি টুক, দ্যাট ওয়াজ দ্য মেন ইন্সপিরেশন। Now there are so many incidents which already has been described by our revered monks, that which actually we can say precursor to the present just organized activities in the field of that social welfare and service, in the field of education, in the field of empowerment. So these are there. Now that feeling Swamiji had, it has been also described by Romarola, that after the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda and his brother monks, they took the oath of monkhood. You know it also, that incident. And then in 1890, Swami Vivekananda just went on, you can say, just on a pilgrimage, but not in the ordinary sense of the term, and visited through the whole length and breadth of the country, literally, and as if Swami Vivekananda absorbed himself in the ocean of India. Romarola was describing, and what was the reason? When he was traveling throughout the India, he visited the palaces of the kings. At the same time, he went to the cottages of these poorest of the poor. Why did he do so? And at the same time also, he used to change his names. I think you must be knowing all these things. Why was he doing it? That he was changing his name also. Sometimes Vividishananda, sometimes Satchidananda. And that name Vivekananda, people say it was actually given by the Maharaja of Khetri, but actually it is not. Original history says that most probably Swami Vivekananda himself just gave the name. And Vivekananda, it is there, that Vivekaja Jnanam, there is one thing, Vivekaja Jnanam, means when, what is that thing, that Vivekaja Jnanam, Maharaj can explain it in a better way, as I have learned it, that there are so many problems in society, there are so many problems in human life also. Now, one by one, select, just isolating them, separating them, one by one, we can go to the solution of these problems. But there are people, very rare, very few, who can go to the depth and to the root cause of all problems. Root cause of all problems, and instead of just giving you can say that prescription for solving the problem of poverty, of illiteracy, of unemployment, or communal tension, all these things are there, superstitions, there are so many problems. Instead of giving separate prescription for each type of diseases, these people, they can go to the root of everything and then give you one suggestion, one solution, which will solve the entire problem. Isn't it? If there is, that panacea is the word in education, in medicine, the term is used, that there is some medicine which can you can just cure all the diseases, whatever you have. In the same way, if there are social problems, social diseases, and our individual life, if human beings have their problem, they all have one solution, and that was actually prescribed by Swami Vivekananda. Nowhere you will see this thing. That is why Swami Ranganathananda ji, you can say another illustrious monk of the Ramakrishna order, he said that the kind of leadership which India has got in the form of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, nowhere in no other country such kind of leadership is there. And Swami Vivekananda was the only monk, only spiritual leader who thought about the economic development of the people of India. It has never happened. Monks are supposed to tell about, the sannyasis are supposed to tell about your mukti, your moksha, your spiritual development, all these things. But Swami Vivekananda is unique in this respect also. And you know, when he was there in America to take part in the World Parliament of Religions, he didn't have enough money. He didn't have even enough that warm clothes to protect himself from extreme intense cold there. He went to people who were known to him there for help. They didn't help and put up one condition. You know it, Theosophical Society where he went. He asked for some help so that you can survive there in America. They said, you have to then speak for our organization. For Theosophical, you have to actually do work and join us. Swami Vivekananda, the knower of the, you can say, ultimate truth, the Brahman, will never compromise, isn't it? And he didn't do it. He was ready to die, but he didn't just accept that proposal which was actually offered. But even then, right, when he was not sure that in coming few just days, whether he is going to just stay alive or die, because of intense cold and hunger, both were there in America. Even then, he was in his letter, which was he wrote to Alasinga Perumal, one of his actually disciples in Madras, that he said, Swami Vivekananda, that I have travelled from door to door of your so-called great men in India. They actually doubted me. They driven away me from their house, just like a thief. They driven me away. Now crossing half of the world, I have come to this foreign land. Then he is saying, you can see also, that I may perish of cold or hunger in this land. But I bequeath to you, young men, the struggle for the poor, the ignorant, the oppressed. Do you understand? Swami Vivekananda is writing to Alasinga Perumal. Brothers, just try to understand it. Alasinga Perumal is our representative, isn't it? Swamiji is actually telling us that if I die, if we have our, our father, what does he do? He leaves a lot of property and wealth for us. Swami Vivekananda, he is just like our elder brother. He is just like our, you can say, our guardian and angel. He is telling a totally different thing. Are we really ready for that? That if I die here, I have come here to participate in the Parliament of Religions, But my purpose is here to come to get some money so that I can go back to India and just open some technical institution so that the youths can come and get job and earn their own livelihood. So he is telling that if I fail, now it will be your responsibility to take care of the millions and millions of the poor countrymen, deprived countrymen. And here only just comes the next thing, that in 1897, Swami Vivekananda, when he came back from America, so there actually he proposed that there would be one organization in the name of Ramakrishna, and that was Ramakrishna Mission, Mountain Mission, where Atmana Moksharthang Jagadhitaya would be the motto. This has also a meaning. I do not know Sanskrit. Atmana Moksharthang, Atma, that liberation of the soul, and the good of the welfare of the world. These are the two that thing which was actually undertaken and suggested by Swami Vivekananda to be the motto. But do you know, Swami Vivekananda faced a strong opposition when he said that the monks of the Ramakrishna order, they will serve human beings, the suffering people. They said, no, Thakur Ramakrishna did not tell us this. Why are you telling us all these foreign ideas you are just you have imported here and imposing on us? We have left our home and heart so that we can worship God, attain mukti. What are you telling all these things? Even his brother disciples, they also opposed, other than those household disciples. Somebody told that Naren, after staying in America, what happened? Just you have become a little bit, you can say, eccentric, right? You go to the Himalayas, have meditation, and get yourself cured of these things. That kind of thing were told to Swami Vivekananda. You know, then Swami Vivekananda got very much upset. And he said, you people think that you have only understood Sri Ramakrishna. I do not know him. And he left that place, went in his room. He was seated in meditation. When Swami Yogananda went there, he saw that Swami Vivekananda, his face was just red like the sun, and tears rolled down his ears. And then they thought that, the brother disciples, that only Thakur is actually instructing us through Swami Vivekananda, and through that kind of activities only he can stay in his body, otherwise he would leave. So we should not disturb him any further and listen to him. Now you can see these things, that in his all the speeches he delivered, in the letters he wrote, he always thought about the marginalized people. When this is a very famous quote of Swami Vivekananda, but I have never thought about the last part of it, that what was his real actually intention, that where to start. If Ramakrishna Mission starts the work for serving the people, he is saying that just let her arise the new India out of the patient's cottage, grasping the plough, out of the hearts of the fisherman, the cobbler and the sweeper. Let us spring from the gossip shop, from the beside the oven of the fritter seller. Let her emanate from the factory, from marts, from markets. Let her emerge from the groves and forests, from hills and mountains. Here is the thing where Swamiji is saying we have to reach to those people whom we do not, the civilized people, they don't consider as human beings also, but our first priority will be there and for them only. That people who actually live in groves and forests and hills and mountains, the tribal people. So this is a context which we should not actually overlook. Now I'm just coming directly to the activities of the Ramakrishna Mission just in and around Jharkhand. There are three major branch centers. which are there in Jharkhand. That one is Ramakrishna Mission, Morabadi, Ranchi. Maharaj went up to what time? I should 5, 10 minutes, is it? Okay, Maharaj. Thank you. So that's the thing that Ramakrishna Mission, Morabadi, I'm just going through these things very quickly. There was a beautiful, actually, documentary prepared by Ramakrishna Mission Ranchi itself. You can search it, rkmranchi.org, and you, in the Golden Jubilee, that celebration, you can see that thing. We were supposed to show you, but time will not permit. So I'm just directly going and very briefly. So it established in 1927. And you see, you know the Akanna pit is there. Do you know it? The various different parts of the body of that mother, Sati, it just fell and that different areas. Durga, you can say. And these parts, wherever it fell, there just came one Shakti Pit, and these are called Akanna Pit. In modern age, Srima Sharada Devi also, throughout the, I think throughout India and all over the world, she also created such Shakti Pithas. But it was not her body parts that went there. Her direct disciples, they went all around the country and established the Ramakrishna mission there for serving the poor, the deprived people, and that Morabadi Jharkhand is one such institution, just like you can say that in the northeast in Arunachal Pradesh, and then here at Narayanpur also, the way the work has been just performed there, conducted there in the same manner. Two disciples, direct disciples of Srima, the Holy Mother, that you can see it, one Swami Vishuddhanandaji, there at Ranchi, he started the, you can say, charity work there, and another Swami Adinathanandaji at Jamshedpur. Almost at the same period, they started work into different places, and after its initial work in the year 1969, when that Morabadi ashram, they started the work in an organized way. Swami just Adinathanandaji went there to inaugurate that organization, which we now known as famously the Bayan. And here in Jamshedpur, it started with opening, schools for the poorest of the poor people, just staying in different parts of each Singhbhum. And also, he established one students, just hostel for the tribal students. There are beautiful stories regarding these things. I think that along with these information, this data, if I could share one or two such stories, you can also understand that how that Ramakrishna Mission is working with a different, totally different outlook, isn't it? Only charity, only giving food and shelter, isn't it? Just medical treatment. If that was the only purpose of creating Ramakrishna Mission, then there are thousands of such kind of organizations all over the world. Why should we remember or just take care of Ramakrishna Mission as totally different organization? The main reason you can say that only charity, only giving just food and shelter and clothing, all these things is not the main purpose, isn't it? The main purpose was to bring out the infinite energy inside each and every human being. That is why Swamiji told, the main work which we have to do is to raise their or bring back their lost individuality, and it should be more educational than just only charity. So when Akhandanandaji was doing the work, we have already seen that relief work, distributing that rice and other rations. So Swamiji then said that by this you cannot solve the problem of the people. No? Nowadays everyone is getting 500, 1000 and so many other, I think that kind of offers are there, freebies are there. Before elections, it happened very, you can say, very much everywhere throughout the country. It has become a fashion. But Swami Vivekananda at that time, he pointed out that if you cannot actually help a person stand on his own feet and make him efficient enough to earn his own bread, then all the wealth of the world will not be sufficient for one village of India. That he told, and that is why the outwardly it may be that the work of Ramakrishna Mission is just like other charitable work or relief and rescue work, all these things, rehabilitation work, they are there. But the main thing was that each and every human being should understand his worth, he understand his own self-respect. Now, there were people in and around Jharkhand, those who just like the other tribal people do not have any, you can say, permanent place to live. Swami Vivekananda, as an itinerant monk, he traveled just all over India, and these areas like Hazaribagh district and then the nearby areas of Bihar, and he pointed out one very beautiful thing, that we have a lot of fertile land here with easy, you can say, just irrigation. Now, if you can do it, that if you develop irrigation, then create some institutes, technical institutes, and also some industries and factories, if you can develop the economic condition of the people, then they will come and settle in and around that place. And when they will be settled, then you can give them higher education, right? And following that instruction of Swami Vivekananda, that works actually started just at Ranchi, Moravadi, and also in other places of Jharkhand, including Deoghar and Jamshedpur. Now, there was a boy, just like you cannot imagine these things, and the name of the boy is Philander, and it is not there. I have not included because it would take a lot of space for doing this, and before coming to that story, that all the charitable activities which were undertook, it solved the financial problem of the people there, but one man out of them, his name was Sukdev, that Sukdev Gop. Sukdev, he became very rich. He earned a lot of money by getting training from that Dibbayan, right? Training in just agriculture, in poultry raising, all these things. When he got a lot of money, he started started drinking alcohol. In such a manner, when the monks went to visit, Sukdev used to stay inside the house. He could not come out of shame, it may be. Now, once the wife of Sukdev visited the monk in charge there at Ramakrishna Mission, she came and told Maharaj, when we didn't have any money, we were suffering from intense poverty, we had peace in our family, now we have enough money, but peace has deserted us. Tell me what shall I do? And she was crying bitterly. And everyone connected with Ramakrishna Mission and Dibbayan, they were in, you can say, deep trouble. For the first time, they got a shock which reminded them the, you can say, warning of Swami Vivekananda that make men first. First build their character, and along with them, if they can do their economic development, they can retain, okay, they can just grow with their social and economic development. So only physical health or financial well-being cannot ensure that you can always maintain a good life standard. So from there actually the Bayan, they changed their attitude and they started opening schools from them, and they are called actually Ratri Patshalas. And in 70 such villages, they started it, and afterwards, it spread almost all over that Singhbhum, Hazaribagh, these districts, and spread all over more than 100 such villages, the Ratri Patshalas. The boys, young men who came to Dibban for study, afterwards going back to their own place, own villages, they started opening or conducting such kind of Ratri Patshalas. There was a boy, now I am coming to that thing, his name was Philander. He lost his parents in his early life. Somehow he got education. After completing his school education, he traveled to Ranchi, that university, for his higher education. He traveled every day more than 30 kilometers to reach to the college there. And when he was actually pursuing his bachelor's degree, he saw an advertisement where he could learn that there at Moravadi, at Dibban, such kind of trainings for you can say, becoming self-reliant are given, are being imparted. He went there, he joined, and he got the training. He raised farms there at home, and when he could earn good amount of money, he thought that I shall also open school for the children here in our area. And from that, these primary schools and then secondary schools, they spread, and it spread almost the entire area of that Ranchi and Hazaribagh. It is only what I have actually told, these things are given here only, that the trained youths are becoming self-reliant by utilizing their skill in their trade, rendering service in their respective villages for overall development of the village as an ambassador of development. Now, that work of Ramakrishna Mission at Ranchi, it just became just like a role model. You can say it was a replicable model, and none other than the then Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. She was so much impressed that she actually instructed the Department of Agriculture of that India, that all over the country they will adopt this one, the work of Ranchi, as a replicable model. As you know, brothers, Ramakrishna Mission is mainly formed with monks. The monks have given their family, given up, and they have come and joined here. They cannot do the work for the whole country, but the way they are doing, it is just like a role model. Only a few, I think last year, the hostel of Ramakrishna Mission Jamshedpur, it was actually renovated. The new building was erected, and the rail ministry, Rail Vikas Nigam, they actually funded for actually building that new hostel. Now, the statistics says that the Rail Vikas Nigam of India, they donate or contribute 70% of their charitable fund to Ramakrishna Mission. One, you can say the secretary, one questioned in a meeting that why do you fund so much amount to Ramakrishna Mission? So then one officer who was closely connected with the Ramakrishna Mission, he himself told it that if we give 100 rupees to Ramakrishna Mission, we are sure we shall get back 120 rupees. If I give it to political persons and others, 50% of it also we cannot actually recover. So that is the most beautiful thing, that what has Ramakrishna Mission has given to India and the world. You can say various, you can schools, colleges, hospitals, so many charitable activities are there. Okay, you can say, people will say, but I do believe. You can say you can say mountainous characters, splendid characters. You can the monks of Ramakrishna Mission, the brothers disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, of Swami Vivekananda, they were all great characters, great souls. And this is the greatest, you can say, gift to India and the world. And this is the solution which we actually spoke about, that make men first. Isn't it? And Swamiji questioned also that I think it's time is almost up. So I'm just going through very fast. And after Ranchi, I'm just now going to Jamshedpur. It is 2 hours journey by AC bus, so it will not take much time if you visit it also. And Jamshedpur also, so many the charitable works, they are on the run. And since 1922 it was going on, and then there was a tribal hostel. And you can see it, that mobile, that medical van. And I have also joined that medical team on few occasions in the remote areas of Jamshedpur and East Singhbhum district. This mobile van goes throughout the week, I think. And other than that, there are eye treatment camps also. These eye treatment camps are there for students and also there for the tribal peoples of this area. And you can see the statistics here, that there are 8 free eye camps for cataract operation. It was organized in 2015-16 in collaboration with Purnima Netralaya, Jamshedpur. Altogether, 1,031 patients were screened and 465 intraocular lens surgeries were performed, and 382 spectacles were given free. And then there are some other activities, that charitable dispensaries, of whom it has been mentioned. You do not know the areas, only mention is there, has been made here. And free eye checkup, already we have just mentioned it. You are getting a little bit impatient, and it is quite natural. And last we have come to, where is it? Deoghar. Deoghar, it is also in Jharkhand, and all the works which I have mentioned for Jamshedpur, these works are also done at Deoghar. There is one hostel for tribal people, and there are free coaching centers. And these free coaching centers are run by all the missions. And now, the last thing. Swami Vivekananda is telling his disciple, Sharat Chandra Chakraborty, that I have given you advice enough. Right? And you have also studied a lot of Shastras. Now, put at least something of it into practice. Then I can understand, then I can believe that you have really understood me. Now, I am also a student of Ramakrishna Mission. So I thought that how can I also contribute or join this movement. When I joined there at Jamshedpur, you can see this is the school where I am the principal, a part of it only, the main building. I go to different places of Jamshedpur after school. I meet the tribal people there, especially the children. I play with them, I sing with them, and I try to share the values which has been preached by Swami Vivekananda. So instead of their eventual destination of turning out to be drug addicts, have you seen these things, these people? The children in the station at Kharagpur, if you go there, they are taking drugs openly. And the areas where I visit, there also I have seen children, young men, mostly they are drug addicts. Now I go there with my small team of other brothers, our students, and we just try to inculcate the values, and you can say civic sense, try to grow in them in such a manner that in the long run, after, this is the concluding that you can slide. just try to think, one incident I'm telling. Those people live on begging. The children, they send to the shopping mall. In front of the shopping mall, they will stand and just beg for some help. Now, when I started working there, I started to teach them something, a little bit. I just purchased some, you can say, cardboards and some papers, copybook, and with them, the work continued and still it is continuing. One day, I was entering one shopping mall in Jamshedpur. One girl stretched her arm for some money. The moment he looked at my face, she said, "Sir, tumi?" Oi bole, after that she ran away from that place. Do you understand? To give them back their lost individuality. Swamiji is saying, আমাদের যে কাজটা করতে হবে, মানুষ যারা ভীষণ গরিব, যারা হতদরিদ্র, তারা ভুলে গেছে তাদের নিজের আত্মমর্যাদা। আমাদের সেটা ফিরিয়ে দিতে হবে। তাহলে মানুষ বলে তাদের সঙ্গে আমরা যদি মিশতে চাই, তাহলে এরকমই কাজ করলে আমার নিজের ছোট্ট যেটুকু সামর্থ্য আছে, যে এই ছেলেগুলোকে আমি স্কুলে এনেছিলাম। এই স্কুলে ওদের একটা গাড়িতে করে আনা হয়েছিল। আনার পরে আমাদের স্কুলের ছেলেদের একটা ফুটবল টিম আছে, ওদের সঙ্গে ওদের ফুটবল খেলানো হয়েছিল। তো এইভাবে কিছু ছেলেদের মেয়েদের স্থানীয় যে ওই অরফ্যানদের জন্য যে স্কুল আছে ওখানে আমি নিয়ে যাওয়ার চেষ্টা করি। এইভাবে মিশতে মিশতে ওরা যদি বড় হয়, ওই যে ছেলেগুলি, ওই যে মেয়েগুলি, ওরাও একদিন না একদিন ওরা বুঝবে যে এই মানুষগুলি সবসময় আমাদের পাশে থেকেছে, তাহলে আমাদের জীবনটাকেও এদের মতো করার আমরা চেষ্টা করব। অনেক পয়সা লাগে না এই কাজগুলোর জন্য, কিন্তু অসাধারণ ফল এর থেকে পাওয়া যায়। আমি যখন গাড়ি নিয়ে বস্তির ওই ধারগুলো থেকে যাই, একদল ছেলে ছুটে এসে চারদিক থেকে ঘিরে ফেলে, বলে, "স্যার, তুই এতদিন আসিসনি কেন?" এরকম সেদিনই হয়েছে, হঠাৎ সবে ফিরেছি, তা ওরা ফোন করে বলছে যে, "স্যার, তোর মিশনের গেটে আমরা এসে গেছি, আমাদের তুই খেলতে নিয়ে যাবি, চল।" তো আমি বলি, "আরে সপ্তাহে একদিন খেললেই তো হয়।" না, আজকেই যাব। মিশনেই ঢুকবে সে বলছে, হস্টেলে। না, এখানে অসুবিধা আছে, তোরা আসতে পারবি না, আমি তোদের নিয়ে যাব। তো এই যে ভালোবাসা ব্যাপারটা, এটা একেবারেই পাওয়া যায় না কোথাও, অনেক টাকা দিয়েও, কিন্তু এইটি পাওয়া যাবে। তোমরা তোমাদের এই অবস্থাতে এই কাজটা কিন্তু এখন থেকেই যতটা নিজের সাধ্যমতো শুরু করতে পারো। ঠিক আছে, মহারাজ প্রণাম, এখানেই শেষ।
Thank you, sir, for a delightful speech. Now I request all the students to kindly proceed for lunch, and I will request everyone to be back by 2:25.